Hi there. A special thanks to Harrison Dietrich, Felicia Whipple, and Professor Dreamer for coming up with the inspiration for today's story. Don't forget to drop your unique story ideas in the comments and join us on Discord. Alright, picture this. Born into a family where love was the main course and everything else was a side dish. It's me, Mika, your everyday, introverted kid with the oddly mature sense of humor. But hey, who needs wealth when you have a brother who can turn cardboard boxes into a pirate ship? And parents who believe that you can conquer the world. Don't get me wrong, we were dirt poor. We walked everywhere. And our idea of a vacation was a blanket in the backyard. But for a kid with a wild imagination, it was heaven. Back in elementary school, I was the oddball, the kid who didn't quite fit the mold. While the other boys wanted to be astronauts or firefighters, I was fascinated by Shakespeare. Call me an old soul. But there's something about a midlife crisis in the 16th century that resonated with a 6-year-old. And then it happened. The day I fell head over heels for acting. Picture me, a bundle of nerves on a makeshift stage, dressed as Hamlet, speaking in a language that was just a few centuries out of date. I was terrified, but when the first words left my lips, the world disappeared. It was just me and the characters I was bringing to life. If life were a comic book, that was the moment I became Super Actor Boy. Fast forward a few years and my childhood dream became a reality. One audition and boom! I was a star, a household name. And money? Well, let's just say I went from rags to riches in no time. It was like winning the jackpot. And my family? Well, we traded our humble home for a mansion fit for royalty. Then there was Delilah. Oh, Delilah. Imagine a supermodel with the brains of Einstein. We were like two magnets, both outsiders in our own way, both in showbiz, and both crazy about our craft. She was the only girl who made my heart skip a beat as much as Shakespeare did. And trust me, that's a lot. Looking back at my life, I'd say it's been quite an adventure. But you know what they say, the best is yet to come. And I have a feeling things are about to get really interesting. Sure, money is nice, I said, tossing aside the pile of fan letters on my desk. But money can't hug you back. Well, unless you're literally wrapping yourself in cash. From the door, my manager gave me a look. It could be worse, Mika. You could still be broke. True, I admitted, sinking back into my chair. But at least back then, I had real conversations with my family. Later that week, I tried to talk to them about it. Don't you think we're drifting apart? I asked during a painfully silent dinner. The only sound that was actually happening was the clinking of silverware on plates. Mom waved her hand dismissively, more focused on her sparkling jewelry than my words. You're just stressed, Mika. You need to chill. And what if I don't want to be your cash cow anymore? I snapped back. Well, aren't you the martyr now? Dad shot back sarcastically. Forget where you came from? But as I try to forget about my family problems, Delilah calls. She wants to meet. One day over coffee, she dropped a bombshell on me. I'm not happy, Mika, she said sadly. Your husband? I guessed. She nodded. And there's something else, she added, looking deep into my eyes. I've always loved you, Mika. So you need a way out. I said more than asked during our next meeting. Yes, she agreed. And I need your help. Okay then, let's do this. And how are you gonna do that, genius? My inner voice asked sarcastically. Well, I hadn't figured that out yet, but one thing was for sure. Delilah was not alone in this fight, and as long as I had anything to do with it, she never would be. So I sat my plan in motion, perched on a bar stool in a grimy, neon-lit joint, trying to charm Delilah's sleazy husband's equally sleazy business associate. Another round, Steve, I asked, signaling the bartender. Steve grinned, revealing a gold tooth. Perfect. Mika, you're a good guy, he slurred, throwing an arm around me. And the good guys should know when they're in over their heads. I tensed. And how's that, Steve? Delilah's husband, man. He doesn't play nice. And you're messing with the bull. You get the horns. Back at home, the atmosphere was no better. You're ruining this family, Mika! My dad shouted during another one of our lovely family dinners. You and your stupid plan of rescuing the damsel in distress. And you're doing a bang-up job yourself, Dad. I shot back. My career should have been taking a nosedive. Instead, an unexpected support system came forward. My friends, colleagues, fans, they all backed me. You're doing a good thing, Mika, my co-star Jenna told me on set. Delilah deserves better. Finally, after months of maneuvering, we did it. Delilah was free. She looked at me, tears of relief in her eyes, and it was like I was the only person in the world. Mika, she whispered, her hand reaching for mine. I love you. I love you too, Delilah. For a moment, the world stopped spinning. There was just Delilah and me, standing in the eye of a hurricane, together. My sarcastic inner voice only had one thing to say. Well, it's about damn time, Romeo! You see, I'd been with Delilah long enough to know when something's off, and one evening, after another day's work, it was written all over her face. We decided to grab dinner, something casual, but her unease was palpable. So, what's eating at you, Em? I ask, unable to ignore the tension anymore. She hesitates, biting her lower lip in a way she does when she's nervous. Then she takes a deep breath, as if steering herself. I've not been entirely honest with you, Mika, she says. Her voice is steady, but her eyes tell me there is no easy confession. Curiosity piqued. I urged her to go on. We all have secrets, Em. What's yours? It takes her a while to reply. When she does, it's like a punch right into the gut. You were a means to an end, Mika. I used our relationship to get control of my father's company. For a moment, everything stops. The laughter and clinking glasses around us blur into a deafening silence. I can't quite process what she's saying. So I was just a pawn? I managed to croak out, my voice sounding foreign to my ears. She nods, a trace of remorse in her eyes. I'm sorry, Mika. I really am. But I had no choice. My father hated my husband, and he made me a deal. He said he would give me his company if I divorced him and remarried someone else. I shake my head, feeling a surge of anger and disbelief. And you chose me? Why me, Em? Why did you have to drag me into this mess? She reaches for my hand, but I pull away. Because you were perfect, Mika. You were charming, talented, popular. You were everything my father wanted in a son-in-law. And you were everything I wanted in a lover. I storm out of the restaurant, feeling like I've been stabbed in the heart. Delilah played me, used me for her own gain. But I wasn't going to let her get away with it. That night, I write a telltale article about Delilah's scheme and share it with my fans. She was a master manipulator off-screen, but it was time for her final act. Still hurting, I turned to my family, longing for the real connections I'd neglected. They welcomed me back with open arms, healing the wounds of Delilah's betrayal. As the industry buzzes with the shock of my expose, I get a call from Delilah's father. A showdown I'm not looking forward to, but also one that surprisingly ends in unexpected peace. I enter his lavish mansion, bracing myself for a fight, but instead, he greets me with a tired smile. Mika, he says, you've shown more honor than my own daughter. I'm sorry for the trouble you've been through. Before I can reply, he drops another bombshell. I'm retiring from my company, and I want you to take over. Wait, what? Why? I blurt out. I mean, come on, it was the last thing I expected. Your expose opened my eyes, Mika. I failed as a father, but I don't want to fail as a CEO. You're a good man. You'll do what's best for the company. Just when I think I've got my life figured out, fate throws a curveball at me. I leave the mansion in a stupor, my mind spinning with confusion and doubt. Why would he trust me, a stranger, with his multi-billion-dollar company? I don't even have a clue about business. As I contemplate this unexpected turn of events, I have an epiphany. This isn't about the company. It's about setting things right. It's about justice, truth, and in a weird, convoluted way, it's about love too. But most importantly, I want to help other young actors like myself from getting manipulated in the industry. So, I turned his offer down. I wanted to break free. A new dawn emerges. My world is no longer about glitzy award nights, designer suits, and tabloid headlines. It's about small theaters, the smell of musty curtains, the energy of a live audience. Raw, passionate, genuine. There goes Hollywood's prodigal son! Peter, my director at the community theater, teases me as we rehearse for a play. He's a bitter old man, but he has a heart of gold and wisdom only age can bring. Never felt more at home. I laugh, delivering a dramatic bow to an imaginary crowd. There's freedom in this simplicity, a stark contrast from my previous life under the scrutinizing public eye. My family's relieved too. They see the old me returning. The dreamer, the actor, the kid with stars in his eyes. We've missed this Mika, my mom says one day, her eyes welling up. I wrap her up in a hug. I'd miss myself too. Evenings are spent teaching acting at the local community theater. Not the easiest way to make money, my brother teases me. Remember when you used to swim in cash? He doesn't understand. The joy I feel when I see raw talent bloom, no amount of money can buy that. My life takes another unexpected turn when I cross paths with Rose, a young woman with a fiery spirit and a passion for theater that mirrors my own. She's a breath of fresh air, genuine, grounded, everything Delilah wasn't. Mika, I've never seen someone portray emotions with such depth, she told me on one of our dates. You are incredible. With Rose, I found love again. Real, genuine love. She became my partner, my confidant, my biggest cheerleader. The camera may no longer be rolling, the spotlight may not even be on me, but the thrill of my life has never been greater. Sometimes you need to step out of the limelight to truly shine, and I wouldn't have it any other way.